had to keep with the month's tradition and just do that part 0. I didn't think it was going to be 3 minutes, but... Alright, so we're going to start, and we're going to start this really weird because we're going to try and color mix. So, hopefully I won't screw this up, like, a whole lot. And I'm probably going to have to make them somewhat small, probably not in scale with Fox. Of course, I've been wrong before in terms of scale. So I don't know how it's really going to go. So I don't know what I want to do here. I'm thinking maybe take some white and some of this, again, the dark green brown from Spike's Hare when we did the Spike Spiegel Clay tutorial, and I'm going to kind of mush those together. So because, once again, this color is darker, you're going to need more of the lighter color or less of the darker color. So I just really want to see if this is going to work, so I would rather not waste a whole lot of clay. And maybe I should have done this perhaps off camera, but hey, I guess we can trial and error this. I think this should give us the color we're looking for. Like I said, I mean, you can really, Sculpt makes such a multitude of colors and stuff, but just in the 30 color pack sampler, you're rather limited in certain regards. I think there are a lot of colors in there that they don't really need, that they could probably replace. Like, there was kind of this dark red without glitter, and then this dark red with glitter, and I don't really think that's, needed. And then there's a couple different light blues and stuff. So, I remember, like I said, way back when they used to have, like, a dragon and a gingerbread little clay model on the outside of the box instead of this kind of purple version, and some of those colors they don't make anymore, but I felt like that was a better variety. However, there were always some colors I just never ended up using. Like there was this really hard white, and then like the sparkly brown, and then I think there was some other like dark green that I never ended up using. I had like a bunch of those colors left. Anyway, rambling for 2 minutes aside, this actually is a pretty good color. I think maybe if it's a touch darker, it'll actually be the color we're looking for. And I might just kind of call this all I'm going to use for Peppy's head because I really don't want to spend more time mixing and stuff. But I think this actually is a fairly good color. Yeah, this is perfect. Wow. Wow. I didn't think mixing clay was actually this helpful, but it is. So actually, I guess I'm going to stop the camera and make some more of this color. But again, it's this white and the dark green. Why is there blue in that white? Anyway, the white and the dark green / brown from Spike's Hare. And it's more white, less of the dark color, and then you mix it together and get this Peppy 4 color. So I'm going to make more off camera. Alright, I think this actually might be enough because I've never sculpted a Peppy before, honestly, so I'm kind of thinking on techniques and stuff I can do kind of on the fly. And for Fox, we sculpted his whole head in orange and then added kind of the lighter accents to his muzzle and kind of the top of his head. But for Peppy, it's almost like reverse. I think we should sculpt his whole head in the white and then add kind of the gray of his fur as a secondary accent over it because it's more white than gray. So it would make sense if we used more of the color we have more of to sculpt his head. So that's what I'm going to do. Unwrap that clay, and here we go. So first, we're going to make kind of an oval shape. Let me just kind of get it into a circle off camera. Once again, the circle is essentially you just roll it in your hands like this, and that's a circle. And then we're going to kind of shape it up to a point like this. And you do want to make sure that there's a distinct, it's wider down here and then thinner at the top. And it's rather long too, so... Alright, I'm already starting to kind of mess this up in terms of the scale, because like I said, I know we're probably not going to get this in scale with Fox. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be in scale with Fox. Fox was right up there, so I was just seeing how big this head was, but I don't know. Regardless, alright. So, kind of a teardrop shape, I guess, is the head. This is pretty good. I'm going to say this is good. So, now I'm going to add kind of the bulge of his mouth and nose in that that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take a circle of white clay, kind of put it on him like that, and then if this was flatter and we added hair and an ear and stuff, you know, it'd be like Captain Almer, but this isn't Pikmin, so we're going to use our finger and kind of push the circle onto the teardrop shape to get kind of that effect. You should probably make sure that it's not, you know, just concentrated in one area, because it actually did look kind of weird. So you want to make sure that it's level all around, and there's an even distribution. See, like that, you want it to be rather flat and not, you know, so much bulging out. And then you can kind of round this top area here. Do a little bit more. And then for those perfectionistic people like myself, you could just spend as much time as you wanted really trying to get this smooth. To a degree, though, I will say that Sculpey clay, you know, you can't, especially the Sculpey 3 stuff, you can't get it like really, really smooth, like, you know, like if you were, you know, like an action figure, you know how like the figures are really smooth and stuff. Like you just can't get it that smooth with this clay. But I mean, you can do your best to try. Maybe you can. I've just never been able to achieve getting it that smooth. But I mean, it would take a lot, and especially, you know, when you're handling it all over. So to a degree, there's only a certain level of perfection you can get. All right. So now that we got this shape, kind of all around like that, which is actually good because we do want kind of a slope here. Notice there's a slope. I'm going to add this brown around him. So it would be smart to do this in kind of a couple different sections rather than all at once. So essentially, there's a white streak down kind of the center of his face, and then kind of where this bulge is, around the bulge, and all the way from, I would say, in between the nose and the mouth to the back, and then on his other side is all gray. I mean, you guys have probably seen pictures of Peppy before, so what we're gonna do, and again, we can do this in a couple different, you know, parts. So I'm just gonna take some, flatten some clay out, take some, and put it right so there's enough room on the other side to put more of this gray, leaving that white streak in the middle and right around this bulge. So like that. And then you want it pretty thin, because again, we're kind of just adding it as, you know, a color, not so much like, you know, like an eye or something. You know, it's not like a nose where it's trying to stick out. It's like a color on his fur. So we really want to get that in. And then, like I said, we can do this in parts, so we can just add more clay to the back here, but we just have to make sure that it gets in. There's no seam, and that you can push it in really well. So I'll just do that again and get rid of the seam. And I'm trying to think of a 360 of Peppy. I don't know if the streak goes all the way back, like all the way back down on his head. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like I should go look just so that this is completely accurate. But I think I'll maybe save that for the next part. We'll at least do the other end and then, or the other side, and then I'll tell you guys what exactly Peppy has, because I don't know. I'm like perfectionistic where I would like to get this as perfect as I can, but I just don't know for sure. So I'll have to go and look. But I'll do the same thing to the other side. And I'm surprised by how good this color is that we made from mixing clay. I remember a long time ago when I kind of mixed some clay, it really didn't work, and granted, it was still Sculpey and stuff, but I was, a lot younger and stuff, so I probably didn't mix it in as well. And just from thinking, trying to mix clay, because I was trying to, mix crayon colors, and that doesn't really work. I'm sure I could probably get it to work better now than I could back when I pretty much only used crayons. But, so just something in my mind said that mixing clay really didn't work, but I'm glad I kind of tried it again and then found out we were successful with it. All right, so now that I look at Peppy, I think it might go all the way down because this clay is so thin. It's going to be a lot easier to kind of get rid of the seams because you can almost just drag the clay with your finger, over where the seam is, and because the clay is thin enough, it's thin enough where you can do that, but or rather, it's thick enough where you can do that, but not thin enough where it'll break. And yeah, you can kind of just drag that. And I'm really reluctant to like boot up Melee and go look at the 360 of the trophy, even though I know that's not the artwork I'm using, but still, or just something. But I'm gonna go do that once we get so far. I feel like it looks right like this, but I'm not sure. So, wow, I'm so indecisive about this. Finally, I'm just gonna kind of make additional room by pushing my thumbs into where the eyes are going to be because we do want to make sure that there's kind of enough room there. Alright, so I'm going to call that the end of part 1, and part 2 we'll probably finish up the head actually because I don't think Peppy has a whole lot on his head. And as of right now, I think he might be in scale with Fox, so that would be pretty cool if he was. Again, this is just I guess how I sculpt the tutorials now, just a lot larger than I typically did way back 3 Septembers ago. So, yeah, alright, end of part 1, and part 2 coming up next.